It was past midnight when the scratching began, soft at first, then desperate. Little Emily hesitated, clutching her blanket, until a low whimper cut through the storm. She opened the door and froze. A battered German shepherd stood in the rain, soaked, bleeding, a tiny, lifeless puppy hanging from her jaws. The dog's eyes met Emily's, wide, desperate, begging. She didn't bark, didn't move. She simply placed the puppy at the girl's feet and whimpered, as if crying, "Please, save my baby." Emily dropped to her knees, tears flooding her eyes. She didn't know it yet, but this would be the night an innocent child and a dying mother dog would rewrite the meaning of love and courage forever. The sun had barely risen over the quiet countryside when Emily woke to a faint scratching at the cabin door. At first, she thought it was the wind brushing against the old wood, but then came a low whimper, weak, trembling, desperate. Pulling on her sweater, she tiptoed toward the sound. The cold morning air bit her skin as she slowly opened the door and froze that a large German shepherd stood on the porch, its fur matted with dirt and streaked with dried blood. In its mouth, dangling limply, was a tiny puppy, barely the size of Emily's hand. The dog's eyes met hers, pleading, glassy with exhaustion. It didn't growl. It didn't bark. It simply stood there, shaking, as if begging for help. That Emily's heart pounded. Her first instinct was fear, but something about the mother's trembling body made her step closer. Then she noticed. The little puppy's paws were moving slightly, its breath shallow and fast. "Oh no," she whispered. The mother dog gently laid her baby at Emily's feet and whimpered again, bowing her head low, as if surrendering. It wasn't an attack, it was a cry for mercy. And Emily knew it instantly. Emily knelt on the wooden porch, her hands trembling as she looked between the motionless puppy and the mother dog. The German shepherd's chest rose and fell rapidly, its breathing ragged. Every time Emily tried to reach out, the dog gave a soft growl, not out of anger, but fear. It took a step closer, nudging the tiny puppy toward her with its nose, then looking up as if saying, "Please, help my baby." Emily's fear began to fade. She whispered softly, her voice shaking, "It's okay, girl. I'm not going to hurt you." The shepherd whimpered again, ears flattened, tail still. When Emily reached forward once more, the dog didn't stop her this time. Gently, she picked up the puppy. Its fur was sticky with blood, its heartbeat faint but steady. The mother dog leaned closer, sniffing her baby, then looked into Emily's eyes, a look that pierced straight through her heart. "Grandpa." Emily cried, rushing inside the cabin with the fragile life in her hands. The mother followed close behind, limping, her eyes never leaving the girl. In that moment, the fear between them dissolved. What remained was something pure, a silent understanding born from love and desperation. Emily burst into the living room, clutching the injured puppy against her chest. "Grandpa, please help, it's dying," she cried, tears streaming down her face. Her grandfather, Henry, an old farmer with rough, weathered hands, looked up from his chair in alarm. When he saw the trembling bundle in Emily's arms, he rose instantly. Behind her, the mother German shepherd limped inside, leaving small bloody prints on the wooden floor. Henry hesitated. His first instinct was caution. "Emily, stay back. That dog could be dangerous." But before he could finish, the shepherd lowered her head, letting out a weak, sorrowful whine that silenced them both. It wasn't a threat. It was a plea. Without another word, Henry grabbed an old towel and cleared the table. "Lay it here," he said firmly. Emily obeyed, placing the tiny creature down as gently as possible. The puppy barely moved, its breathing uneven. Henry pressed a cloth against the wound to stop the bleeding while Emily warmed some milk by the stove. The mother dog paced anxiously nearby, eyes fixed on her baby, tail trembling. Every soft whimper tore through the room like a cry from the heart. Hours seemed to blur. For Emily, every breath the puppy took felt like a small miracle, a fragile fight against time and fate. The following morning, soft rays of sunlight spilled through the cabin window. Emily hadn't slept. She'd stayed beside the puppy all night, watching its tiny chest rise and fall. The mother dog lay curled beside the table, her head resting close enough to feel her baby's warmth. Every so often, she'd lift her weary eyes to look at Emily, as if to say, "Thank you." Henry walked in quietly with a bowl of water and sighed. "You did good, kiddo," he murmured. "Not many would have opened that door." Emily smiled faintly, brushing her hand over the puppy's soft fur. "She just wanted someone to help," she whispered. "She trusted me." Outside, the frost had begun to melt, revealing the muddy trail the dog had taken through the forest. Henry followed it out of curiosity, and what he discovered made his stomach turn. Near the edge of the woods lay a small, broken wooden box, splattered with blood. Inside were scraps of cloth, signs that someone had dumped the mother and her litter there to die. When he returned, Emily was feeding the puppy from a small bottle, the mother watching every movement. "They were thrown away," Henry said grimly. Emily's eyes widened in disbelief. "How could anyone do that?" she whispered, her voice trembling. The mother whimpered softly, as if answering, "Humans did by afternoon." The story of the brave mother dog had already begun to spread through the small countryside town. Henry had called the local vet, Dr. Harris, who arrived carrying a small kit and a look of disbelief when he saw the German shepherd lying protectively beside her puppy. "She's lucky you found her," he said softly. "Or maybe she found you." As Dr. Harris examined the dog, he froze. There, faintly visible beneath the dirt and blood, was a faded tattoo, the mark of a K9 unit. "Wait a minute," he muttered, leaning closer. "This isn't just any dog. She's from the Riverton Police Department." Emily's eyes widened. "You mean she's a police dog?" The vet nodded gravely. "She went missing 3 weeks ago during a warehouse break-in. Her handler was injured, and she vanished that night. We thought she'd died." Everyone in the room went silent. The mother had survived alone in the wild, injured and starving, protecting her newborn pups all that time. When she could no longer save the last one herself, she'd done the unthinkable. She'd sought help from the only creature who wouldn't hurt her, a child. Emily knelt beside the mother, tears welling in her eyes. "You were trying to save your baby all along," she whispered. The German shepherd lifted her tired head and pressed her nose against Emily's hand, her tail giving a faint wag. Dr. Harris smiled softly. "She's got the heart of a soldier and the soul of a mother." Emily looked at him and said, "Then we can't let her story end here." And from that moment, she made a promise. This time, the world would not turn away. Days turned into weeks, and the cabin that once felt quiet now brimmed with life. The mother dog, whom Emily named Grace, had healed remarkably fast. Her wounds faded, and her strength returned, but her eyes, those soulful, golden eyes, still carried the weight of everything she'd endured. The puppy, now affectionately called Hope, grew stronger each day, learning to walk on wobbly legs while Grace watched with the tenderness only a mother could give. Emily spent every moment she could with them, brushing Grace's fur, feeding Hope from a small bottle, and whispering softly whenever thunder rolled across the hills. Henry often watched from the porch, a faint smile tugging at his lips. "Guess this house wasn't so empty after all," he'd say, chuckling quietly. Then one morning, a police officer arrived, Grace's former handler. His eyes filled with tears when he saw her. "Grace, you made it," he whispered, kneeling to the ground. She wagged her tail weakly but didn't move from Emily's side. It was as if she was saying, "I found my new family now." The officer placed a hand on Emily's shoulder. "You saved her," he said. "You saved them both." Months later, Grace and Hope became local heroes. Their story spread far beyond the village, a tale of courage, motherhood, and the kindness of a little girl who chose compassion over fear. In the final scene, Emily sits under the evening sky, Grace's head resting on her lap, Hope asleep beside them. The world is quiet, peaceful. Emily smiles softly and whispers, "You begged me to save your puppy, but you ended up saving me too." Even the smallest act of kindness can heal the deepest wounds. Sometimes, love truly finds its way home.